Hello. Good evening. How are you? Thank you, Chrissy. Hi, Elaine. So, I just wanted to come on and just say again, thank you for all the prayers. The little boy he's on the mend, and that is a prayer answered. It's a real prayer answered. The cough hasn't gotten any better. The congestion and all that hasn't gotten any better, but his spirits are high. Um, there's been a couple of times today where I had to tell him, boy, you need to sit down and settle down, because of course when he gets up and gets to moving, he gets to coughing and his nose gets to going. But there was a couple of times where I was like, Luca, you're sick, buddy. You need to sit down, buddy. And he's like, I'm not sick. So, if you listen to the professional, he's not sick. But yeah, I assure you, his little voice isn't even, because of all the congestion and all the coughing, his little voice, it's so hoarse. And so he sounds like a much bigger boy than he actually is. So it's, I know he's on the mend. And for that, I'm thankful. At least he's feeling better. Doesn't mean that I'm out of the woods, but I'm definitely thankful that he's on the mend. So I guess the other thing that I wanted to chat about, let me go in here in this store real quick. Man, that hurt like a son of a bitch. I just cut my head. My wife has this thing here. Whoa. And she has it like that, sticking out. Can you guys see that? So when it's up and I just did my head like, ooh. Bleeding? Ooh. So, bear with me for just a minute. Then I'm gonna take you guys with me. They are the boss. Good God. He is, man. So you know what it is that also when you're showering them with, what you do when they're sick, whatever that, love, I guess, and, empathy. Hey. About you last night. Your husband, man. Them little boys, man. Newport's baby? Yeah, I know. The big ones. The one, yeah. Man, the little boys were out here looking for something. Oh, they lost. That's why they came in here asking me, and I was like, no, I haven't left this area. The way they were tweaking out there, me and your said, yeah, they're tweakers. They're tweaking on some drugs. Yeah. So we were talking to them, and then the one of them did all this shit, and then your husband was like, "What's up, blood?" Yeah. And then I was like, "Wow, there's two of them. I can't let him go down by himself." Pistol though, you know what I mean? Yeah. He ain't gonna go down. No, me either. If I saw something, I'm jumping in. That's just what we do in this family, man. That's it. Our motto is Royal Mafia family, man. There's a video on YouTube of this teenage boy. He's watching his mama get jumped on. And all of a sudden, that teenage boy comes around like Superman and goes, "Paya! Get off my mama!" And goes, "Leon!" Jumps her, grabs his mama and goes, "That's my mama." I said, "No, you don't jump me unless you see me going down." That's it. I said, that's when I said, don't let me go down. All right, baby. That's my homegirl, man. So, what I want to talk about for a minute is so what now? Right? What now? Right? We're to a point in time. How is your little guy He's definitely on the mend, but he's, he thinks he's just fine. He doesn't understand that he has the pandemic. He doesn't understand it. You can't tell him he's sick. He doesn't get it. Thank you so much. He's 3. Vid, I'm glad to hear you got over it. I'm super glad to hear you got over it. So, what now? I had a live stream going before I walked in there and shit. So what now? Ooh-ah. Squad tip. Benny, give him 5 years. He'll be faking sick to stay home from school. Tennessee Shine, you're damn right he will. You are damn right he will. What now, guys? Have a good night. Right? I'm in the big body tonight. COVID pneumonia. That's what I'm worried about for my son because of all the stuff that he's got going. Like, Lizzie's been coaching me on what to do as far as he's concerned. And, we definitely have been rolling him over on his stomach and stuff like that. But it's like, that's what I worry about is all the stuff that is down in his chest and stuff. Pneumonia is, I think pneumonia right now would be worse than the actual, what he's going through. So thank you to everyone. Right? So the what now part, right? Yeah, Lizzie didn't say that to a lot of people because she just didn't want people to use that as, you see how they've been doing my son and me, because I was emotional that he got sick, and boy, they took that as an advantage to really just slay me online. And and I thought about it, I was like, you know what, shame on me really for coming on here and making myself vulnerable in that way. I shouldn't have even done that, but I'm glad that I did, because if it weren't, then I wouldn't have gotten all the prayers, and I wouldn't have made amends with so many different people in the past. There's been a real blessing and a lesson come from my son being sick. Right? The lesson has been forgiveness. Oh boy, the forgiveness. I'll even say that I've been watching the people that have given me forgiveness, and I've watched them go back online and talk bad about me. And guess what? I forgive you. I forgive you. I forgive you. I forgive you even if you keep on. It's not me, it's you, okay? At this point, it is not me, it's you. So, what do we do now? We've got this scenario with Summer Wells, right? And as the crow flew, it flew right over top of Summer's case. And you even heard Gabby's dads. I don't want to distinguish between the two of them because I think they both love her equally. And that's an awesome thing to see that little girl had, not that little girl, but that woman, she had such a great male role models in her life. That I sat there and I thought, I'm thinking to myself while I'm watching all of this, that she has such great men in her life. How did she wind up with someone that, allegedly is abusive to her? And how could she, try to traverse that whole thing, and her dad's not really know what was going on. And so I feel that there's something else going on with that. Anyhow, with any case, you're going to have that celebrity kind of spokesman. Is that to the Summer case? And now John Walsh is going to come over and he's going to do his deeds. And I hope that they're all above the board about Summer, right? But Gabby's case was a little bit different because of the nature of having someone identified that we'd sure like to talk to about some stuff, right? In Brian Laundrie. Now, what I'll say in terms of Brian Laundrie is, I'm well versed in everything that's going on with our cases. And I wanted to talk about the bounty hunter situation for just a minute. Dog the bounty hunter, he's not active law enforcement either. And there was something discussed on the media, it was either today or last night, it seemed to be an issue between Dog the bounty hunter and the FBI. It was like they weren't moving in and weren't moving in on the campsite, although a lot of people online are spending and expending a lot of effort talking about this campsite and the islands that surround that area. So you have yet another celebrity that comes on. Now, Dog, he comes on with a different shake than Chris M, right? Like, not to say that Chris M hasn't locked away some bad guys in his time. I'm certain that he has, but he's not known for that. He's known for the ones that, when he locked up the wrong ones. Benny, we can't hear you. Oh. Maybe that's better. Sorry, the air. So you've got the celebrity status of Dog the bounty hunter coming over to Gabby's case. Now, there's not a significant bounty for the capture of Brian for the unlawful use of the credit card, right? It's, there's $20K, I think, or $30K or whatever it is. There is something for his capture, but that money doesn't fix anybody's problems, right? So we all know that Dog, his wife, Beth, she died 6 or 8 or 10 months ago, and so he's going through a rebirth, so to speak. And I'll tell you that I'm actually really, really enthused for Dog, because I feel like if Dog is able to, to make some headway on this thing, then we can resurrect Dog from some of the things that have happened to his online or his on-screen persona, some of the real life things. So what the hell is that? So all of that is great stuff. All of it is good stuff in regards to Gabby, right? So what about Summer, right? What about Summer? I saw the proverbial pullout of the Carlton Reserve, right? And that looked like the media saying stuff like, oh, well, or the FBI rather, the law enforcement spokespeoples saying things like, well, we're scaling it back, right? Then we had what was it, WFLA, Florida News. They had their Chopper 9 fly over and they could find no search going on. And you know that they're not searching the campground where they were seen in September sometime. So it's scaled back, right? Again. And you just have to ask yourself, how helpful is social media? Now, granted, I think that there were great things that were done with Gabby's case, but I'll tell you this, I do know, and we all know, that there were many tips that the FBI and the law enforcement had to get off of the social media, because those tips and that information and that data, it went to the YouTube and the TikTok and all of that. It went there first. Right? There was a great deal of materials that went to the social media first. I've been asked also several times today to make an attempt to reach out to Ryan Upchurch. Before hearing his name from Lizzie today, having a conversation with Lizzie, she said, Benny, there's this Ryan Upchurch thing, and I hope I'm saying his name wrong. I'm not trying to, if that's not his name, I'm not trying to say it wrong on purpose. I think it's Ryan Upchurch. Anyway, she was like, we have this situation with Ryan Upchurch, and I'm like, well, okay, well, what's the situation? And she said, well, he's like a celebrity. I don't know what he's a celebrity for. I didn't Google him. I didn't do any of that. I know nothing about the man. And she was like, well, he's jumped over, and he's really, really bashing the Wells. And initially I told Lizzie, I said, you know what, Lizzie, I'll reach out to him. But then I thought to myself, like, who am I? Again, like, who am I, right? I understand that there's a lot of people that have a lot of confidence in me, and that is such a beautiful, wonderful thing. It really is. But at the same time, I've been going through this period of heavy growth, I feel like. A lot of things have been put into a perspective for me. And you want to know, let me tell you what, the past days my son has been sick have been a relief to me. They've been a relief because I'm not worried any longer about things on YouTube. I'm not any more am I worried about every knock on the door being CPS or the police for, someone not liking me online. That's not to say that stuff still isn't on the way. But I have had a virtual lightening of my burden, just by not being contemptful and not holding on to these negative feelings that I have for people online that I don't even know, right? Like, I don't know Doug. I mean, we don't know, if we've never met each other, we don't know nothing about each other except for what we've come to accept at face value. And there's certain people clearly that it's safe to accept their face value persona. And then there's others, quite naturally, we can all see who some of these people are, who have a persona that's not on the level, right? So I mean, to release the contempt has been a beautiful thing for me. But back to Ryan Upchurch. So, wow, got a little anger on hair or something. Has Ryan infracted against what we stand for as victim activist. I think that I'm going to adopt that name because there's so many different blends and brands and standards of advocacy and all of that stuff that I think that I'm probably actually really an activist. I'm really someone that will say and do a lot of different things that an advocate probably wouldn't. So I'm a victim activist. And I'm human, right? By no means am I perfect. So we see Gabby's case. The first week, everyone was glued to it. I think there's still a lot of people glued to it. But you want to know what it does to certain people like me? I really can see the mess from where I'm at. The Petito family, they don't have the same perspective that I have, or that the rest of us here have. They look over to the social media and they're like, oh yeah, it's such a great thing. And then we have a lot of people saying stuff like, oh, well, the Petito family, they appreciate what stuff like what Chris M is doing. I've not one time heard anyone from the Petito family say thank you, Chris McDonough, for anything at all. I've not, in fact, heard the Petito family thank any one specific YouTuber specifically. So it is, you also got to understand that they're looking at the world right now through rose-colored glasses, right? I mean, they're absolutely looking at, from minute to minute, the very best in people and then the very worst in people. And sometimes not even minute to minute. Sometimes it's intermingled. You know what I mean? And at this point, I'm actually proud that I could say that I've done nothing, absolutely nothing, to hinder that case. I've done nothing to hinder that case in any way, shape, or form at all. And to me, that's a proud thing for a lot of reasons. It's, to me, I'm proud because I didn't have to be told by Gabby's dads today that all people need these services that everyone has given to his daughter, right? I didn't have to be told to come back. Thank you, Tennessee. Yeah, I'm still hurt behind the things that Doug did to me, and I'm hurt that I felt like I just couldn't just leave it alone. Like I put myself in a position for Doug to do something to me, and then I left myself in the position for Doug to Doug not victimize me, but to re-offend me, in an offensive way. I left myself unguarded from the things that he has in his heart, right? I can't control that. There's even a point where you're like, you can only pray so much, right? You can only pray so hard for certain people, and then you just have to, I don't know, maybe you stop praying for them specifically, but you pray more in terms of just generically praying for all YouTubers and social media people that are here, not being really specifically helpful. So I feel like there's a portion of the community that is thankful for the fact that I stayed loyal to what I had going on. And maybe that's you know, maybe that's unfounded. I don't know. Like maybe that's all in my head, right? Maybe it's all in my head. I don't know. It doesn't matter really. Just so long as those feelings are felt, right? Now that's not because I don't have anything against Gabby at all, but like her dad said, right? Um, do you think Gabby's dad is offended because people chose not to come over and get involved in the mess over on his daughter's case? I mean, yes, I suppose if you were to weigh, well, let me say this. I hear a lot of people saying that social media is the one that found Gabby. I don't believe that's necessarily true at all. I believe that the phones and all of that jazz played the biggest part in it. That's kind of my take on it. But that's always going to be my take. I'm never going to come here unless a YouTuber does a video, I guess, right over top of the scene. Like, I'm always going to give that to the law enforcement. I'm always going to say, man, you know what? Did some YouTubers had some information and some stuff on their videos, and did they see some stuff and talk to some people? And yeah, they did. But so did the law enforcement, right? So to give all of this idolatry to a YouTuber, I'm just not going to do it, right? Like, you're never going to convince me that a YouTuber outwitted and outquicked the police, right? Like, sorry, I'm not going to, and especially not in this situation, right? That's not the way I saw it. I don't have anybody telling me, I have no one telling me that, wonder what's going on here. Is everything okay? Okay, there they go. This lady got out. Anyways. And that's where I'm at, right? Like, am I going to take credit for anything the TBI got going on? Man, hell no. That's the TBI's business. That's the TBI's work. Shit. Right? I'm not here to take no glory from nobody. I'm only here to assist. Right? I'm in Uptown by the Galleria. It's a nice area out here. The Galleria is just around the way, right back behind me right here. Galleria Dallas. But, you know, what do we do after Gabby's case gets locked up too? It will. I mean, as far as what the YouTubers can do, it's every case is like dominoes online. I'm telling you, the smart ones, they know it. Eventually, all the YouTubers have messed around and touched everything they can touch and twisted every different option they can. And eventually, if it draws out, you know, like a manhunt or it's an extended deal like Summers or Gabby's, right? The board gets locked. The board gets locked and you can't do nothing. And then you're just spinning your wheels and you know, in terms of being a YouTuber, you're just slothing around the bottom like a bottom feeder, waiting on somebody else to go missing. That's what it is. You know, I do want to say one thing in regards to AB, right? AB is focusing on some of, or had focused on some of the indigenous women that live in Canada or Wyoming, wherever it was. that's awesome, AB. Like, that's awesome because, you know, and I saw it, you didn't get the same kind of views for the indigenous women that you did for Summer. And you know what that made me feel like? It made me feel like I need to help AB. It made me feel like I needed to do where the most good could be done. And I believe, guys, that we can help with some of these indigenous women that are missing. I believe that. They are they are clearly, I would say, even more marginalized than Summer, right? We're talking, I do know the statistics for Wyoming. The statistics for Wyoming, there are 700 missing indigenous women in Wyoming. In Canada, they are still uncovering children that were either killed or died from whatever circumstances at different, or maybe it's just one, don't quote me, but at a children's home. Like, they've found like 7,500 children up to date, or 5,500. And so, you know, I believe we as content creators, we need to, when our heart is in it, and I believe AB's heart is in it now, after seeing what I saw about it. Like, I think AB's probably a really cool dude. It's just that when when you find yourself on the wrong side of AB, you don't feel like he's a good guy. Well, guess what? I applaud AB big time for picking indigenous women to talk about. Why, as content creators, do we not go to help the most marginalized people? Well, because there's not clicks and views in trying to help indigenous women, right? No one cares about indigenous women, right? Not even the police. So why would a YouTuber want to jump on and start talking about indigenous women who are being victimized by the hundreds? Nobody cares about these women. Well, guess what? The absolutely awesome thing about, I believe, focusing on some indigenous women is this: you're not going to run into all the riff. One wants to cover indigenous women cases, right? And go where I think the most marginalized people are right now in the missing community, and that's the indigenous. No one else will be there. So we don't have to worry about all the bad stuff. We can just go there and we can start digging into these cases, and we can bring them to the light, right? I am all for helping the ones that need the help the most. And right now it's indigenous women, right? So I'm about to pull into this parking ramp and I'm going to lose you guys. So indigenous women it will be. We are going to still be covering the updates that transpire from the Summer Wells case. And I'll mildly talk about Gabby like I have done tonight, but I want to focus on the missing indigenous women in the United States that it seems nobody cares about. You know, I'd love to give AB a hand in helping him with the indigenous women that are missing in his country, but we've got them in our country. And so I'm going to focus on the ones in my country first. And if at some point in time I get the opportunity to assist someone else with some indigenous missing women cases, and team up, I'd love to do that too. But that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start looking into the indigenous women cases. Like it or love it, subscribe or unsubscribe. I love you guys. Oh, we got two pit bulls meeting on the dark corner here. This might turn hairy. Love you guys. I will talk to you. I might even do another live when I get home. Love you.